Montreal, sat with the business team and the founders and so on. And what I really concluded after all that was that there may not be a more interesting and colorful, certainly, example of an innovator who is in a field and has just fundamentally rethought every element of what it might be to be an organization in that field. So step back for a second. I mean, this is really a creative and commercial juggernaut of the first order. Started about 25 years today by Guy Laliberté and his friends up in Montreal. This year, they'll do over $1 billion in revenue. They got 5,000 full-time performers. They'll sell more than 10 million tickets in 25 countries around the world. They now do more business every year. They sell more tickets than every Broadway show put together. They did in their first 20 years what it took Ringling Brothers, kind of the IBM of the circus, if you will, what it took Ringling Brothers 100 years to do, and more, maybe more than anything else. They have created in this field, kind of the circus, it's kind of messy and freaky and weird. They've created this global entertainment icon that's really one of the great brands of the last 25 years. How'd they do it? They did it by, and I think this is, again, relevant, in a fun way, relevant to the work you're doing. They did it by reimagining the experience and rethinking the economics of how to be in that field. So I had never seen a Cirque show before, and so I went to my first Cirque show, and I'm looking at it. The first question I asked is, where the heck are the animals? I mean, there's a circus, right? What immediately you think about the circus is the lions and the tigers and the great beasts of the jungle kind of deal. The first strategic/innovative decision they made was there will be no live animals ever at a Cirque du Soleil show. Now, part of that was cultural. You know, we feel like as a society we're evolving. We no longer want these majestic beasts performing for our amusement. But part of it was economic and strategic. It turns out, you study the circus business, 40% of the operating budget of a traditional circus is the cost of acquiring, feeding, transporting, healing when they're sick, the live animals in the show. And so with that one decision, they wipe out 40% of the budget of their competition. Second thing you notice is, hey, you know, when you think about a circus, you think about the sword swallower, the lion tamer, the kind of larger-than-life superstars, their versions of George Clooney or Julia Roberts. There's none of that at a circus. I mean, there's no lion, so you don't need a lion tamer. And they've got this great cast, but it's kind of interchangeable. Again, creative economic decisions. The second biggest line item in a circus budget are the huge salaries relative to everybody else you pay for the 5 or 6 or 10 larger-than-life figures in the circus. Cirque du Soleil said, there are no stars at a Cirque show. The show itself is the star. Now, with those two decisions, those two innovative constraints, if you will, they wipe out 60% of the costs of the competition, and they also eliminate the most predictable artistic elements of the competition. Now, they take all those resources, and they free them up, and they use it to invest in and develop the three things that they believe their customers really care about today: the clowns, the acrobats, and the physical staging itself, the grand chapiteau in Cirque speech. And with that fundamental, innovative insight, they've created over the last 20 years something that's not just a little bit better than you might come to expect in the traditional offerings in this field, but something that represents a performance that is genuinely new, exciting, compelling. They're not just the best at what they do in their field of entertainment. They are truly the only ones who do what they do. And that, I would submit to you, is really where strategy begins today. The only sustainable form of innovation leadership is thought leadership.